Celtics blow the doors off of the LA Clippers. How about the Neemias Queta? How about that guy? We'll talk about him. We'll talk about why these Celtics are right on track for where a contender should be right now on the Locked On Celtics podcast.
Be ever ready. Recognize the city of champs. Boston, baby, we do what you can't. Locked on number 18, Tatum and Brown, J-team, step back. We gon' wet that and slay teams. Of course the Celtics, who else could it be? Screaming like KG with the Larry O.B. Karalis above average, assessing the team status. Best daily pod, no cap salary matching. Clutch like Bird the DJ, keep John on replay. Prime time, dapping up the truth on the sideline. Raining J's, how it started, raising banners, how we finished. Locked on Celtics pod, home of the winners. B.
Hey there, welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast, right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Where does your team every day? And I got you covered every day with a free, fresh podcast that's dropped directly to your device. If you subscribe, all you got to do is click that subscribe button, pick up your phone, pick up whatever you use to listen to a podcast, and subscribe. You could do the same thing on YouTube. Watch a show, hop in the comment section. Let me know what you think about the Boston Celtics just destroying the LA Clippers 145-108. If you don't know me by now, I'm John Karalis. I cover the Celtics for Boston Sports Journal. I played ball a long time ago. And I'm just here enjoying my time covering this team for you and talking about wins like this. Later on, I'll talk about why this team is right on track. I'll save the Neemias Queta conversation for a little bit later on when I talk a little bit more about the specifics of this game. But let's just get into this here. No Kristaps Porzingis because of the sprained ankle when he landed on whose foot did he land on in the Golden State Warriors game or the Sacramento Kings game? It was the Sacramento Kings game. It was Domantas Sabonis where he rolled the ankle. So he sat out this game, but by all accounts, he's fine. Adam Himmelsbach of the Globe said he saw Porzingis carrying around his own massage table. So they did exactly what I said they should do the other day. Just protect him at all costs. He's too important. Find other ways to win. They didn't need him, obviously, in this game. So he was out. No Kawhi Leonard. Third game in 4 nights for the Clippers. So they didn't have a whole lot to offer. Paul George came out just smoking hot. But Jrue Holiday was right there to start the game off well for the Celtics. And it was after kind of back and forth and after Paul George kind of kept them in the game, once that second quarter started to come around, and that's where Queta started to do a lot of his work. That's where Jayson Tatum started to get cooking, end of the first into the second quarter. Then the Celtics really got some separation. And then once that happened, the Clippers they just never rebounded. They never got going. And I mean that literally. They never rebounded because they got crushed on the boards 51-34 by the Celtics, and they gave up 15 offensive rebounds, and they lost the second chance points battle by a fair amount to the Celtics. So overall, this is just a nice, not much to say as far as, what did they do? They hit a ton of three-pointers. They went 25 of 53. No one's complaining about the three-point shooting. The Clippers shot 11 of 34. So they got beat by 14 three-pointers. So that's 42 points. That's your margin, basically. It's 145-108. The three-point shooting is basically the entire difference in this game. So that's kind of how it goes in the NBA. And you could kind of chalk it up to that. Although there were other things, the Celtics kind of won. Joe Mazzulla talks about the margins. We like to talk about the margins. This is how the Celtics win these games. They shot more shots than the Clippers, 94-89. You want to win that. And that's partly because they got the 15 offensive rebounds to the Clippers 9. So they got more possessions. They forced turnovers. They forced 11 turnovers. And not a lot, not a ton, but they actually got they went out and ran, and they got 13 points off of those turnovers. And the Celtics only committed 9, so they win that battle. They obviously win the three-point battle. They win the free throw fight there. 15 of 15 for the Clippers, 22 of 28 for the Celtics. So they got 13 more free throws, almost entirely on Jayson Tatum getting fouled, taking three-pointers. What was up with that? What was up with that? He tweaks that left ankle again, but he said luckily it was a really good tape job, and you could see on the replay that it didn't fully turn. It was just a little tweak, and he was just laying there going like, really again? And then there was another landing spot foul, and then he just got a straight up foul in the course of shooting a 3-pointer. So 3 times he was fouled shooting threes. 2 of them were flagrant. Luckily, he came out of it okay. He's definitely not going to miss the Lakers game on Christmas Day. That's for sure. I guess I should also, while I'm in the middle of this, and because I said Christmas, it reminded me, the podcast schedule, I'm doing this post-game podcast now. I'm not going to record a new show for Christmas Day. I'm going to record the next show after the Lakers game. So my Christmas Eve I'm taking my Christmas Eve off. And so this show kind of serves as the Monday show in a way. And then post-game Monday, Christmas Day, Lakers. Obviously, I'm going to give you a post-game podcast there. Just so you know, prepare yourself accordingly. But anyway, Tatum's fine. And he got to the line 9 times, mostly on just getting fouled shooting 3-pointers. But anyway, the Celtics win that battle. They just win the margins across the board, 33 assists to 25. What's going to happen? You shoot 52%, you're going to get a bunch of assists. You shoot 47% from 3, you're going to get a bunch of assists. They got 33 assists. They got 4 steals, 5 blocks, so 9 stocks to 8, 4 and 4 for the Clippers. You just anywhere you look across the board here, the Celtics win the battle, and that's where this is. They won this over and over again. The pace that they played at was great, I thought, for most of the game. And Joe Mazzulla even said after the game, they're really starting to pick this up. They're starting to learn. They're starting to figure out the pace and execution. There's a magic kind of area. Like, you want them to play fast, but it goes to like the thing that I say a lot. All of you regular listeners, you everydayers, probably can guess where I'm going with this, what words I'm going to say. I'm going to let you say it out loud to see if you're going to guess what I'm going to say here when I talk about the speed of the game where the Celtics are playing. It's that slow down to speed up mentality. You go as fast as you can while still playing under control. So are there other like faster levels where the Celtics could play? Sure. But at that point, the turnovers start to go up. They played at a good enough pace here where they take care of the ball. 9 turnovers, 94 shots. That's kind of perfect for the Celtics. You're playing at a pretty high clip. You're getting a lot of shots up. You're getting yourself more opportunities. They played at a pace that the Clippers could not keep up with. The Clippers, typically a slow team, and without Kawhi Leonard, and on the third game in 4 nights, that was just kind of ready-made for run, get out there, push the ball. I thought Al Horford did a great job pushing the ball. They were really, really focusing on that. And by doing all of that, they were able to kind of get their separation early and kind of never look back. So overall, just a wire-to-wire kind of dominant win. The shooting was there. The pace was there. The defense was there. They gave up 108, and they gave up 3 quarters that were 30 or more. A couple of those were just some runs that they gave up. That it was like a couple of minutes of maybe relaxing or poor defense that overshadowed 10 minutes of good defense. And look, it's the whole body of work, right? So you can't make an excuse for that. But when it came time to build the lead and build it up to 25 or 30, I thought the defense was spectacular. Jrue Holiday was amazing defensively. Jayson Tatum stood out with a couple of defensive plays. The one play on Harden where he reached in and kind of disrupted the dribble and then turned and kind of knew where that pass was going to go and stepped into that passing lane. That was fantastic. Holiday had one of the most well-timed double teams I've ever seen in my life, which is maybe the nerdiest thing I've ever said on this podcast. But, Harden was doing his like tick-tock, rhythmic dribble. And Holiday just, know your personnel, KYP, jumped in as he kind of felt that Harden was going to take that crossover to Harden's right. Holiday was on Harden's right, and he just kind of jumped in and forced that turnover. It was him and Al Horford. That was just a beautiful defensive play. Not to mention the play where he kind of ducked behind Ivica Zubac and kind of after Zubac got the rebound, snuck in and got the steal and 3-pointer. So amazing defensive game from Jrue Holiday. I mean, he was just spectacular. Let me get into some of these specifics here in just a second here, because some of these individual performances were really, really good here. Thank you for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Why not make your next stop the Locked On Sports Today 24/7 streaming channel? It's the first ever full streaming channel on YouTube, 24/7 sports all day, all night long, wherever you want, whatever you want. It's there. Put it on. Put it on during Christmas dinner. Put it on when the family's over. Just leave it on, and people can just kind of talk about. It's a great conversation starter. You can talk about whatever sports they're talking about there. So go check that. Individual performances here. Like I said, Holiday really set the tone. He was 20 points, 7 assists, 6 rebounds, a steal, just 1 turnover, 8 of 12 overall, 4 of 6 from 3. That man is finding a comfort level. That guy is figuring it out. And his first quarter, he's from LA, so he was kind of showing out for the hometown crowd, but he was spectacular all the way around today. Jayson Tatum, 30-point game, casual 30-point game in 30 minutes, 9 of 16, 30 points on 16 shots. That's beautiful. 5 of 10 from 3. You know, his pull-up jumpers, pull-up three-pointers have not been great this season or last season or the season before. He's not really good at those, but they were falling in this game. They were really falling in this game. And when those are falling, then there's nothing you can do. If Tatum is hitting the pull-up three-pointer, then you're screwed. That's like the number one bellwether. If you're here from another team, if you're here as a fan of the Lakers and you want to listen and you're like, oh, let's see what the Celtics are up to, that's what you got to watch for. When the Celtics, when Jayson Tatum is hitting pull-up three-point jumpers, then you're done. There's nothing you can do. He's going to drop at least 30 and you're screwed. Jaylen Brown, this is becoming like Jaylen Brown's default, like 24 points, 6 rebounds, a couple of assists, 3 turnovers, not a big deal. 2 or 3 turnovers for high usage guys are the norm. Every high usage guy is going to do that. So that's how it goes. So, but he got into foul trouble early, so they kind of flipped the rotation a little bit. Normally Tatum comes out with 6 minutes to go, but it was Jaylen that came out, so they kind of flipped that substitution pattern. And Tatum got going. He had a great play, driving from the right baseline, going up, was chest to chest. I forget with who. It was going to be a dunk, but then he adjusted and had that finish. And then Jaylen comes in third quarter. This is where the game, I think, was salted away, where they had just, before the half, they didn't give up a run per se, but they were outscored by, it was like 11-6, 11-7. So does that qualify as a run? But they gave the Clippers a tiny bit of life. And at that point, it was a 17-point lead, missed opportunity to go into the half up 20 plus. And the beginning of the third quarter was one of those kind of like, I wonder how this is going to go. And then Harden hits the first shot and you're like, okay. And then Jaylen Brown goes off. 7 straight points. Derek White hit a 3 to kick that off. It was a 10-0 run. All of a sudden, it goes from 15 to 25, and it's just basically a wrap from there. So I thought Jaylen was really, really good. His shot was falling. He had good recognition. There was maybe 1 or 2 possessions where he tried to do too much. One of them resulted in a turnover, and then he got away from it. And that's what you want. They're like, all right, he tried to do too much. He realized, like, can't do that. All right, bring it back in. Great game all around from Jaylen Brown. Typical great game from Derek White. didn't shoot the best, but 3 more blocks. The first guard to have 3 blocks. What's the stat here from Dick Light? The first Celtic to have at least 3 blocks in 4 consecutive games since Robert Williams, and the first Celtic guard to ever do it. So that's how good he is. Think of all the shot blocking guards that the Celtics have had over the course of time. I mean, if Dennis Johnson didn't do it, then I feel like no one's ever going to do it. But here's Derek White doing it. Just an amazing. He's so amazing in so many ways. Like, it's unbelievable. And then there's Neemias Queta and the offensive rebounds. Like I said, there were 15 offensive rebounds. He had 6 of them, and they weren't all his own misses. There were a couple that were his own misses, but got to give this guy credit. He has stepped up when Porzingis is out and Luke Cornett is out and the Celtics are a little shorthanded with the bigs. He's been asked to step in. He's on a 2-way contract, and he does exactly what you need him to do. He's not what you would call a fluid player, right? He's kind of big and lumbering. He's an old school center. That's the best way I could put it. If this was the 1980s, Queta would be like the starting center for at least like 5 teams in the NBA. But in today's NBA, it's a little bit of a throwback. Like, he's not a shooter. He's not really an offensive player. You see him finishing around the rim. He's lumbering in a lot of ways, but he's out there setting picks. He's a giant dude. He sets the picks. He's in the right spots. He does the right things. He's just a decent, good, big guy that chomps glass, that gets onto the boards and does his job. And on a team where there's so many guys that do so many things, Tatum, Brown, White, Holiday, they do so many things. Get to the bigs, Al Horford, Kristaps Porzingis. They do a lot. It's good to have a couple of guys. It's like you have a very defined role. You are our pick setter, our rebounder, our rim protector, and don't expect to get the pass all that often. We'll throw you some lobs. Maybe you'll get if you get a mouse in the house and you get a post up and get a guy on your back, and you got good position. Maybe you'll get the ball there, but you gotta get your own putbacks, and if they find you, they find you. And they found him a little bit here. He had 14 points, 12 rebounds. It's an amazing game for him. Second double-double for him. And then 3 assists. So really, just a really nice overall game. He's still, I think, a little bit matchup dependent. Like, you can't put him in there against smaller, faster guys. But he's just a really nice option to have. If you're getting smoked on the boards, he's a guy that you can put in that'll box out, that'll grab some rebounds, that will get some offensive rebounds and keep some possessions alive. He's a valuable guy, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's upgraded at some point this season. I don't know what the plan is, but I think there's he's playing himself into a more regular role, which brings me to how the Celtics are basically right on track. Everything I just said about how this team is playing and how some of these guys are progressing, this team couldn't be in a better position. They are just exactly where they need to be. They're right where they need to be. And I'm going to talk about that in just a second. Thank you for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. If you need a quick last-second thing for the holiday to give a gift for somebody, search for me on Cameo. Look me up, John Karalis, and I will do a shout-out. I got a few. After I'm done recording this podcast, I'm going to do a few. I've gotten a few requests, and it's if you know somebody that loves the podcast, that maybe somebody you listen to the podcast with, and you're kind of like, geez, I wonder what kind of stocking stuff or some just I'll do a cameo. I'll do one tonight or tomorrow, and you'll have it in time for Christmas. And it's just a, neat little gift. And it's only like $13. So why not? This Celtics team really is right where they're supposed to be. This is, and you can sit there and be like, well, no, what you can say, why couldn't they have beaten the Warriors? Why couldn't they have beaten, one of these other teams that they lost to, Minnesota or whoever? Even though Minnesota is right there. Losing to Minnesota, I think back then, people were like, oh, God, I can't believe they lost to the Timberwolves. And now you look back on it and you go, wow, a lot of teams lost to the Timberwolves. That wasn't a bad loss. They're not supposed to be perfect, right? No team goes 82-0. You want to go 82-0, but no team ever does. And going into a season that the best possible season anybody's ever had, you lose like 9 or 10 games. A really good season that's more realistic, you're going to lose like 20. 62-20, that's an amazing season. A 62-win season, that would be unreal. And that means there are 20 games that you're going to lose. We are a third of the way through the season. The Celtics have 6 losses. So that's basically on pace for 18 losses or so, which means a 64-win season. That would be incredible. Everybody, anybody within earshot of this, if I said before the season, would you take a 64-win season? Everybody would be like, oh my God, hell yeah. Because I thought this was like a 55-win team. Maybe high 50s. To get to 60 is a magic number. And the Celtics team is kind of on pace to do that. I don't think they're going to win 64 because I think there's going to be just a natural lull. They might hit a 2 or 3 game losing streak, or maybe even 4. Who knows? Oh my God. And people are going to lose their minds if they lose 3 or 4 in a row. Oh my God. But that's how it's supposed to go. This is how a season is supposed to go. Like, I want everybody to understand the losses are part of it. The wins are part of it. The struggles are part of it. A contending team that added 2 key players, one right before training camp, it's supposed to take like a little bit, right? A third of the season. So think of it in football terms. If a team is starting to click about 5 games in, and at that point they're 4-1, that's a pretty good team. You're like, oh wow, this is they're not like, it's not like they're 3-2. This is a good team that's 21-6. They get the highest winning percentage in the league. They're winning 78% of their games. Holiday, why this game, John? Why this game? Why is this the time where you're telling us to right on track? Jrue Holiday is figuring it out. He's the guy that had the biggest adjustment to make from the new addition perspective. And here he is, consistent now. Consistent. Dropping big numbers. He shot 42% over his first 18 games. Over his last 8, so that's the homestand and this road trip so far, 54%. 50% from 3. And he's doubled his steals over the last 8 games. So he had 12, and then he's had 12 over the last 8 games. So Holiday is a sign that these guys are really starting to shift, right? It's just a constant massaging of the pieces to try to get them all to fit together, right? You're trying to get it all to just kind of click, and you gotta, it's got to jiggle a little bit. You got to like sand down some of the pieces. Some of the pieces need to be kind of like turned a little bit. Guys need to make personal adjustments. Jaylen Brown has made personal adjustments, and he's playing the best style of basketball in his entire life. This is the best I've seen Jaylen Brown. Holiday is now finding a groove. Derek White has been in a groove. Jayson Tatum now is starting to get his shot to fall a little bit. And then the bench is starting to, over the course of a season, there are guys jockeying for position. And Queta is a great sign that, okay, this is how it's supposed to go. Guys are jockeying, and then a guy is supposed to kind of, show himself to be more than we thought. This is all how it's supposed to go. Queta steps up, and you're like, oh, okay, this is a person that we didn't think was going to be a big-time contributor. And maybe he just replaces Lamar Stevens or one of these other guys that we thought, hey, maybe this guy could. But there's always an adjustment. And then just the points that they've scored. The offense over the last 8 games has been incredible. From the beginning of the homestand, those 5 wins, and then 2-1 so far in the road trip, the Celtics have the best offense in the NBA. Joe Mazzulla after the game says, I don't think it's because of the points. I think it's because of the execution. I do like the fact that we're developing a fast-paced identity and not turning it over. We're finding a good balance of pace and execution, which I think is important. That's what I said before. He says we're recognizing coverages faster, and we're changing our screening recognition versus that, and I think that's a huge key for us. Screening recognition. Guys understanding when the defense, you can run a certain play, right? And this is like the nuance of basketball. You can run a certain play. We'll just say it's a high pick and roll, right? If they're switching, you have to set the pick a little differently than when they're in drop coverage or when they're blitzing. You have to set the pick at a different angle. You've got to hold it for a different amount of time, right? These are all little things. So the recognition, what's the other team doing? And can you say, oh, okay, I see it quick enough so you can adjust to what they're doing? It's a dance. It's back and forth. And when Mazzulla says we're recognizing coverages faster and we're changing our screening recognition, that allows the guys, Derek White, to make a play. It allows Holiday and Brown and Tatum to all make plays. If they're seeing things, if both the pick setter and the ball handler are seeing things at the same time, then oh, they're blitzing now? Okay, now I got to do this. Oh, they're in drop? I got to do this. I've got to hold this screen a little bit longer to let my guy get around it and now force that big to step up, and maybe I can slip behind him for an alley-oop. Nuance, things like that, things that you would never see just watching the game normally. If you've never played ball, you wouldn't know. How would you know? But these are the things that are the difference between big wins and turnovers and missed shots and contested shots. How do you get to that faster recognition? This is what's called the game slowing down for these guys. For some of these guys like Neemias Queta, the game starts to slow down when you can make those quicker decisions because you see it. Your mind's not racing. What's this? What do I do? Is this where I'm supposed to be here? That's where I'm supposed to. And once you get past that, you just know, I recognize this. Now I do this. Oh, I've seen this before. I'm going to do this. That's the game slowing down. When you can do that, now you can be a little bit more present in the moment, and you can read where the ball is coming off the rim a little bit better because you just have more time. You understand. You've done all the other stuff. Now you see the shot go up. You can read it. You can understand where you're supposed to be. Those little things all add up. How do you get there? Time, repetition, film session. For once, we've got a team that's progressing normally. And what do you know? They're 21-6 while they've been doing it. This is exactly how they're supposed to be playing. Warriors loss notwithstanding. And I've seen comments, people saying, that it's just ruined the whole season for like that. Talk about a crazy overreaction. Those games that's how you learn. That's how these lessons get ingrained. Like you're supposed to lose every once in a while. That's how it happens. You're supposed to lose and learn from it. I think the Celtics bounced back very, very well against Sacramento, against the Clippers. This is exactly where they're supposed to be. They're the best team in the league, and wouldn't you know it, they're getting better. They're recognizing things better. The players are playing better. Guys are carving out roles for themselves. Guys are stepping up to fill voids. What more do you want? What more do you want? This is as like, if this were a flight, it would be the most unremarkable takeoff, perfect weather. You're at 30,000 feet, not a sign of turbulence, like maybe a bump or two along the way, but basically nothing. This is how it's supposed to go. So just enjoy it. And not for nothing, but the schedule coming up it's getting easier. The Celtics have the easiest remaining schedule in the NBA. So just let that linger for a little while. It starts with Christmas Day, the Lakers. The Lakers are, 15-14 now? Clearly mired in the very famous in-season tournament curse. As far as I know, every champion of the in-season tournament has struggled immediately after winning the in-season tournament. So clearly the NBA Cup is cursed, and the Lakers are experiencing that. But Christmas Day will be a tough day. LeBron will be there. He'll be his usual self, and that's going to be a fun day. I think the Celtics, my guess is that they will be at full strength. I think Porzingis will be back, but who knows? Luke Cornett might not be back, but they will mostly be at full strength. And so we'll see. I will be here. I should be at full strength for that podcast, but who knows? Let's knock on wood there and not jinx it. I will be here for you, though. So make sure you're subscribed. If you're not subscribed yet, you're still here, then maybe you love the show. Maybe you just love the show. And I hope you subscribe and join me on a daily basis, because I'm here for you on a daily basis. For the most part, I'll take a holiday off like Christmas Eve, but I'll be back on Christmas Day. So if you're with me every day, thank you so much. The best Christmas gift for me would be sharing the podcast and spreading the word. Tell everybody they should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast right here in the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.